Today we celebrate the feast of Christ the King, and so it's important to understand in what kind of kingdom Christ reigns as King. It's not a worldly kingdom of power and wealth, it's a heavenly kingdom of love and peace. St. John Bosco wrote about this distinction when he contrasted the Catholic Church with Islam. One path leads to heaven, the other does not. The name Islam comes from the Arabic aslama, meaning submission. Islam spread from the deserts of Arabia across Europe and Africa, not through miracles or by the blood of martyrs, but by conquest and by shedding the blood of those who refused to submit to Islam. Islam was born of violence and spread through violence. Muhammad was born in Mecca in 570 AD, the son of a pagan father and a Jewish mother. He was ambitious for wealth and power and desired to be worshipped like a god. He was afflicted with epileptic seizures, but managed to deceive his followers into believing that these convulsions were visions from the angel Gabriel. But many of his countrymen recognized him as a fraud and an agitator, and he was condemned to death. And so he fled to Medina in 622 with some loyal disciples who became his first soldiers. With them, Muhammad began a campaign of conquest, wiping out entire cities and killing anyone who stood in his way and who refused to submit to Islam. It was not the gospel of peace, it was a kingdom of fear. Where Jesus said, "Love your enemies," Muhammad said, "Strike down the unbeliever." Where the apostles carried the cross, Muhammad's followers carried the sword. Muhammad himself couldn't read or write, and so Islam's sacred book, the Quran, was compiled by scribes from the teachings of Muhammad, who claimed to receive these revelations from the angel Gabriel. But the Quran is a direct contradiction of God's nature and of the divine law he has ingrained in the human heart. It permits revenge, lying, murder of non-believers, and polygamy. Muhammad himself had 13 wives, including, at 50 years old, marrying a 6-year-old child. And this practice of taking a child bride continues in many Islamic cultures. And so Christianity and Islam are not compatible with one another. This is the story of two kingdoms, one a kingdom of light, the other a kingdom of darkness. One born of love, the other born of force. For Christians, paradise is described as the vision of God. For Muslims, it's an eternity of physical and sensual pleasure. Christ founded his church through the blood of his own sacrifice on the cross. Muhammad built his empire by shedding the blood of others. Christ conquered hearts through peace and love. Muhammad conquered minds through violence and fear. Christ ruled with mercy and forgiveness. Muhammad governed through retribution and submission. Christ preached sacrifice and self-denial. Muhammad exalted the passions and sensual pleasures. Christ revealed himself through divine power, and by miracles witnessed by many, he healed the blind, calmed the sea, forgave sins, and raised the dead to life again. But Muhammad could perform no miracle because he wasn't sent by God. And Christianity sets man free through truth and love, whereas Islam enslaves man to his passions and to fear. Christianity redeems the soul, whereas Islam degrades the soul. For 2 millennia, the Catholic Church has outlived every empire, endured every persecution, every heresy, and every philosophy that sought to replace it. And yet the Church remains visible and unshaken because her foundation is not human but divine. Islam can conquer nations but cannot heal hearts. It can destroy cities but cannot defeat sin. It can fill mosques but cannot create a single saint. Only the Catholic Church has been given the power to sanctify and to save. So not all religions are equal. Truth is not divided. There is one Christ, one Church, and one way of salvation. Jesus alone was the one who healed, who forgave sins, and who died to save us. Man was not made to serve power, but to love God. We were not created to bow under the sword, but to kneel before the cross. Only truth can set us free, and the Catholic Church alone possesses the fullness of truth, because it's the only church founded by Christ, who is truth himself. And so Christ alone is our Lord and King. We stand and profess our faith.